Okay, question 6 on the OCR paper, January 2007. First of all, we have to expand this here, this expression here. So let's start off. Now the expansion is 7, 0. Okay, and then it's this term to the power of 7, 1 to the power of 7, and it's this term to the power of 0. Plus it's 7, 1. We'll come back to that in a minute. Now this power decreases by 1, it's 1 to the 6, as this power increases by 1. 4x to the 1 plus 7, 2, 1 to the 5, 4x squared, fits on 7, 3, 1 to the 4, 4x cubed. Okay, it's got a bit scruffy in the corner, but hopefully you can read it. Now, it's well worth expanding it in full like that to show the examiner that you understand the expansion. Okay, but a lot of these terms are going to be straightforward. So let's just deal with some of them first. Let's leave these terms here. We'll come back to those in a second, these coefficients. Let's just deal with the rest. And we'll get 7, 0. 1 to the power of 7 is 1. 4x to the power of 0 is 1. So it's going to be 1. Plus 7, 1. 1 to the 6 is 1. 4 to the 6. So it's going to be times by 4x. Plus 7, 2. Again 1, so let's not bother writing in. And we're going to get 16x squared, and then 7, 3, and 1 to the power of 4 is 1, and we're going to get 64x cubed. So we dealt with most of the expansion. Now what you have to do is work out these values, 7, 0, 7, 1, and so on. Now there's two favourite ways of doing this. The first one, well, you can use a calculator as a third one. But the first one is to realise 7, 0 is just equal to 1. 7, 1 is equal to 7 divided by 1, which is 7. 7, 2 is equal to 1 times by 2, and 7 times by 6. So notice it's the first 2 at the bottom, that 2, so it's 1 times by 2, and then it's 7 times by 6. It's the same number of terms in the bottom as is on top. So the next one, 7, 3, will be 1 times by 2 times by 3. So we need 3 on top, so it's 7 times by 6 times by 5. The full definition of this is available in your books. This is just a shortcut. And if we work those out numerically, we get 21 and 35. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. And in a minute we're going to substitute those. The other way is to use the triangle. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, and so on. Okay, just working down. Now we only need the first 4 terms, so let's just work on that side. And you finally get 1, 2, 7, 2, 1, 21, 35. And count down, you'll get that's a 7. So there's a couple of ways. Now, as the number gets larger, as the power that we're expanding gets larger, we aim more towards this than we do towards the triangle. But if you're expanding to a cubic, then the triangle is just as quick. Use the triangle just as quick. Now we can substitute these values into our statement above, and we get 1 times by 1 plus 7 times by 4x plus 21 times by 16x squared and plus 35 times by 64x cubed. Now notice how I'm making absolutely clear on all my steps exactly what I'm doing. So in case I make a mistake, if I make a mistake, then I will get the method marks. And we'll complete all those. We get 1 plus 28x plus 236 x squared plus 2240 x cubed. Now that continues, but we're only going to give the first 4 terms. Okay, so that's part 1. in part 2, it says the coefficient of x squared is 1001. Find the value of a. So we've got 3 plus ax times by 1 plus 4x to the 7 is equivalent to some new expression or term that we're in a series of terms which we're going to just concentrate on the x squared part of that. Now if we use our expansion, that's 3 plus ax times by 1 plus 28x plus 336 x squared plus 2240 x cubed and so on. Now we're only going to worry about the ax squared or the x squared terms that contain x squared, because we know that the coefficient of x squared, by definition in the question, given here, is 1001. So let's expand the terms that only contain x squared. So it's going to be 3 times by 336 x squared, which is 1008 x squared, and it's going to be ax times by 28x plus 28a x squared. Now, if the coefficients, if it's an identity or equality, then the coefficient of the x squared on both sides has to be equal. So we're left with 28a plus 1008 is equal to 1001. If we work that out, we get a is equal to minus 1/4. Okay, so we're only interested in the x squared terms because it's the x squared terms that we had the coefficient of. I hope that helps.